Today, the Security Council met at the request of Venezuela, a sovereign state that has been exposed to unprecedented pressure and the threat of a military invasion for several months. With each passing day, the situation becomes more and more acute. Large-scale military activities are taking place in the United States, threatening the regional and international peace and security. Certainly today, our American colleagues will dispute this fact and say that they are not threatening anyone. We are talking about the fight against drug trafficking. In any case, this is the version that Washington is actively promoting. Therefore, we propose to review and evaluate the facts that we have, and to form our own unbiased opinion on the seriousness of the situation. Since August this year, Washington has begun the concentration of large military forces in the southern part of the Caribbean Sea. 3 destroyers with patrol anti-submarine aircraft, armored personnel carriers, and nuclear submarines have been transferred to the coasts of Venezuela. The total number of military contingents exceeds 4,000 people. Is this a preparation for an invasion or just a regular relocation and military exercises? The latter would be believable if we were not talking about an independent state, which representatives of the United States have repeatedly openly designated as one of the goals of their policy. Therefore, Venezuela has every reason to believe that its northern neighbor is ready to take action with the involvement of its navy. Now about the presence or absence of drug trafficking. American propaganda offers us to believe in the existence of a mythical cartel called SOMS, which transports tons of cocaine from Venezuela to the United States, and its leader is none other than the president of the disgusting US Bolivarian Republic. It is associated with drug cartels and armed groups all over the world and poisons the lives of millions of American citizens with drugs. This is a wonderful story for the Hollywood blockbuster, in which the Americans once again save the world, but the facts of these statements are not supported at all. It is enough to mention that the United States Department of Drug Crimes has nothing to do with drug trafficking in Venezuela at all. After all, 87% of cocaine gets to the United States through the Pacific Ocean, which Venezuela does not even have access to. The White House may, of course, say that it does not agree with these assessments of the United Nations. Okay, let's take a profile report of the State Department itself from March this year. It does not mention the SOMS cartel, which allegedly mobilizes the entire Southern Command of the U.S. military. Is it possible to believe that the U.S. Department of Foreign Affairs has learned about such a threat to national security only in the last couple of months? It is much more likely that the American propagandists simply did not invent this threat at that time. Nevertheless, Washington has confirmed its decisiveness. It has recently sunk 4 small vessels and said that it allegedly has indisputable evidence of the drug cartel's ownership of the boats. At the same time, there is no way for the international community to verify this. The suspects were not detained, they were not charged, and the cargo allegedly transported by them, according to the Americans, was destroyed. In other words, some ships, on which people were located, were simply shot in the open sea without trial and investigation, according to the cowboy principle of shooting first. And now, we are offered to believe that there were criminals there. Russia decisively condemns the attacks on civilian ships as a drunken violation of international human rights. Such actions are included only in the notorious theory of American exclusivity, according to which the United States can do everything, and the rest of the countries can only do what the United States allows them to do. We strongly reject such logic, which is based on the concept of peace and order based on rules arbitrarily formulated by the United States and its allies. We urge all members of the international community to do the same. In this context, we are extremely alarmed by the absolutely groundless hints in Washington that allegedly have a connection between the gangs operating in Haiti and the notorious Venezuelan cartels. We see in this an attempt to probe the ground in order to carry out its actions under the umbrella of the UN Security Council Resolution 2793 on the fight against banditry, according to which a number of members of the Security Council, including Russia, abstained. We want to warn you right away that the United States has nothing to do with this idea. We do not expect any international human rights legitimacy created by Washington to be unlawful. Colleagues, let us not let ourselves be misled. Today, we are dealing with an impudent campaign to exert political, military, and psychological pressure on the government of an independent state with the sole purpose of changing the regime that the United States does not want. This is being done in accordance with the classical instruments of the color revolutions and hybrid wars, which have already affected millions of people around the world. At the same time, the White House, consistently increasing the degree of tension and artificially increasing the atmosphere of confrontation, consciously closes the window of negotiating opportunities and ignores the call of the Venezuelan leader to jointly fight drug trafficking. There is only one step from such actions to direct armed aggression. Washington must immediately stop the escalation under the pretext proposed and not make the irreparable mistake that would become a military action against Venezuela. It is fraught with a sharp, uncontrollable degradation of the situation, serious regional destabilization, and the undermining of the foundations of peace in Latin America, including the common vision of the region as a zone of peace, which was established by the CELAC in 2014. Instead of adhering to the principles of international law, sovereign state equality and respect for their sovereignty, Washington in this case confirms that it approaches the region exclusively as its backyard, in the spirit of the notorious doctrine of Monroe, which has been repeatedly rejected by Latin Americans. We express our full support and solidarity with the people and the government of Venezuela. We continue close cooperation and coordination of further steps with Caracas to prevent interference in the internal affairs of the country. Venezuelans, like other regional states that are under constant pressure from their northern neighbor, have a complete right to determine their political and social and economic course. We hope that the states of the Latin American region, regardless of the level and quality of their bilateral relations with Venezuela, will show solidarity and unity in this difficult moment in order to protect their identity and political independence. We also call on all our colleagues at the Security Council, as well as all sensible and responsible members of the international community, to prove their support to international law and the UN Charter, and to send Washington the appropriate solid and meaningful signal.